Good morning. This week has marked the anniversary of the first lockdown, and what a year it's been. I'm not sure any of us thought 12 months ago that we'd still be battling this virus and our lives would still be so restricted, and even now. I wonder how you found the past year, what you found hardest to cope with. I wonder too what new things you may have learnt this year, what light there has been in the midst of the darkness. We come this week to remember Jesus' darkest times, and to remember that they were dark times too for his disciples. They didn't have the benefit of knowing that Easter Sunday was going to happen, and they must have thought everything was coming to an end. Today's passage sees Jesus head to the Mount of Olives with his disciples to pray. What strikes me most from the beginning of today's passage, which hadn't really made an impact on me before, is Jesus' words as he prays in the garden. Matthew's Gospel describes the event in slightly more detail. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he again found them sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed a third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to his disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." The words that struck me most from this story this year are, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." At the beginning of time, Jesus existed with God the Father and the Holy Spirit. They brought the world and everything on it into being, including you and me. They witnessed the fall and the separation of God and man. They formed a rescue plan, and Jesus knew he had a key role to play. And yet here he is, asking his Father to take this cup from him. I wonder how many times this year, and indeed in our lifetimes, we've asked God to take away the cup of suffering. Jesus knew what was about to happen over the next 3 days, and he knew it would change the course of history and bring humans back into perfect relationship with God. He knew that after conquering sin and death, he'd rise again, and yet here he is, praying, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." I find that quite astounding, profound, and strangely comforting. Jesus didn't want to face suffering and pain any more than we do. And yet, He had the boldness and the bravery to pray, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." I wonder how often, in the darkness and struggles of life, we have the boldness and the bravery to pray, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." It's all very easy to see things from our perspective, but God sees the bigger picture. He sees beyond the here and now and into the eternal purposes of the kingdom. I'd like us to just listen to a song by a lady called Hilary Scott. She wrote this song in the wake of having a miscarriage, and when she tried to pray, the only words she could find to say were, "Thy will be done."